How's everyone doing today? Welcome to Steve's Storytime Sanctum. I'm your host, your tour guide, Steve Husk. And today I'm also going to play the part of galactic historian and chronicler. This is the series where I talk about all the different alien world books that I've created for all the different species in my science fiction stories. A couple of them will be based on the worlds, the operation of the universe, that sort of thing. But today I'm going to do a species called the Renndigans. First thing about the Renndigans is they live on a planet that's 90-some% water. The Renndigans are made up of several sentient species. Now, this shouldn't be that big of a surprise because, depending on who you ask, Earth has several sentient species. There's one difference with the Renndigans, though. Their sentient species can communicate pretty much perfectly with each other. This allows all the different species on Renndigan to work together as equals, which is a really handy thing. Now, and that's important too, because here on Earth, you wouldn't expect a dog to drive your car, would you? I can't even imagine what that conversation would sound like. Spot, no, I said turn left. No, left. I don't care that there's a cat on the corner. We're not chasing cats today. Yes, make a right at this intersection. Yes, unfortunately, that is the vet hospital. No, we're not going for that operation. You have already had it. Now, you don't want that. But you could teach a dog, and we have already, teach a dog how to sniff out drugs and bombs at airports and other places. And we even use dogs to help the visually impaired to go different places. The two species can work together, but they don't always understand each other. If you yell at a dog, he thinks he's in trouble. If you speak kindly to him, he'll but to be able to speak perfectly to the dog, and the dog understands perfectly, and the dog to talk to us perfectly, that would be great. And I'm thinking of, you wouldn't get a dolphin to try to type out an essay, but with certain language enhancers, an understanding of what the dolphin's actually communicating, computer software could interpret it into a language we can understand. That would be kind of cool. See, but the Renndigans have already mastered this. All their different species, their sentient species, can understand each other and communicate with each other with some variations, but they can still do it. This makes them incredibly powerful at solving common problems. Makes them one of the more fascinating species in that part of the galaxy. By the way, heads up, in dealing with the Renndigans, I do not use the gender pronoun he and she. And let me be clear, it has nothing to do with social constraints or social expectations. Nothing to do with that. Renndigans only have one gender. That was kind of easy. Now, this, of course, created a slight problem, a slight obstacle for me when I was writing the stories. I did manage to come up with a third-person gender-neutral pronoun for Renndigans. I thought I was being quite creative. As it turned out, at about the same time I figured all this out and started incorporating it into my stories, I found an article that somebody else was doing the exact same thing. I don't think either one of us was copying off each other. Let's just chalk it up to great minds think alike. Works for me. I should mention that only one of the sentient species from Renndigan are true amphibians. All the others stay underwater full time. The Renndigans have been around for a very long time, but until just recently, they have had no clue what was even beyond the cloud cover of their planet. Well, before that, most of them didn't even know what was on the surface. Some of the different species were able to see things, maybe places. They had no idea what they were seeing. No clue whatsoever. It wasn't until they actually got away from their own planet that they realized these particular Renndigans were seeing other parts of the galaxy. I had no idea how that was happening. But once they got out there, they realized that's exactly what we've been seeing. Wow. Then something strange happened. In a very, very short time, maybe days perhaps, the Renndigans, as it relates to galactic awareness, went from virtual cluelessness to being one of the most dangerous species in the galaxy. How the hell did that happen? Did they experience a quantum leap of technology? Or maybe it was because they didn't know how to behave on a galactic scale. Yes to both. The Renndigans' origin story, as it were, will be in novel format, which will be published who knows when. But until then, you can learn a lot about the Renndigans by reading a short story I wrote called Beyond the Conscious Breath. By the time you see this video, that story will be available for purchase, and the video discussing that story will already be out. The links to all of that, as always, are in the description below. Like the video, check out the story, Beyond the Conscious Breath, and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when I post another video based on my alien species. The next one, if I keep to my schedule, should be one that most of you already know. Hell of a spoiler. Until then, as I always say, if you write, go write something. If you don't, go read something. Until then, go create something.